One, yes, okay, so. Yep. Great. 5 minutes. Yeah, I would give them.
Like 10 minutes. Yeah, and you can talk through like what they're learning or. I don't know anything about who's on here, right? Yeah, this is a Zoom link, no?
That's Zoom, but you're live streaming to.
So I would never know
You
who's on.
won't know. Unless you open like on your phone and see how many are live streaming.
No, I'm not doing that. I'll get too distracted. I still gotta remember just say.
It'll be fine. Look at us doing all the things. It's great.
So.
Yeah.
Fine.
This lovely discomfort.
Cause you taught it like 3,000 times.
No,
Like, actually, I do love the subject. This is my subject. That's why I picked it. I love my sellers. I
taught a few classes, but I hadn't taught any when I joined Televidence. And they asked me, they had me teach profit share, and I was like, I've never taught a class, I don't know what to do. So
No, this is good. Yeah,
very
great. So
it's heartwarming.
and then DBA I had here.
It'll be great. It'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love this.
Renee.
Okay. Karen. Exactly. Oh. What is my office? Regular. Okay. All right, love you. Here. Really? Yeah.
How long have you been in the industry, Renee?
October 19th.
I'll say maybe 4 years. No, more.
My first
Where's
year.
my
No, October 19th.
Oh, last year.
2025.
Oh, you're busy still.
Yeah.
How do you like it so far?
I love it.
Okay. What were you doing before real estate? Nothing?
Homeschooling.
Homeschooling?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I could not do that.
Yeah.
How long did you do that for?
Well, my husband's job, we went by over 2.5 years. So my job is to get the house ready, work with numbers, find the next house, take care of the kids.
How many kids?
3. So, but they're older now.
How old are they?
25, 21, and my son turned 14 today.
Okay,
So-
yeah, they're grown now.
Yeah.
I have 2 boys. Today's my oldest birthday.
No way, so my Grant and yours have the same birthday.
Oh really? Yeah.
Today's his birthday.
My son is turning 12 today, so I'm only working half day. I'm doing this and then I have to do cool things and then I'm stuff. Well, but
Yes.
do stuff with him. Yeah, he's excited. We still don't have to so.
So you have a teenager in 1 year.
Yeah. Let me get
Good morning, Brittany.
Brittany, you're not coming here, are you? Not today. I just want to, let's give it another 5 minutes.
There is a lady that comes.
Say that?
There's one more lady that.
Oh.
Then there's a people on YouTube.
Maybe
Very nice today.
Huh? What do you do?
Front desk today.
Oh, are you coming from Madison?
Yes, I'm
Oh,
very
nice.
Madison.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be fun.
Yes.
Maddie's was supposed to be my model today. I wanted to do the social media with her and I forgot she did.
Oh, what is supposed?
No, I had like a train I wanted to do. I'm like,
Oh.
can you do it with me? Cause I need someone else. She's like, yeah, I'll do it with you. And then she's like, it's okay, I have to come back this week.
Madison was wanting to know if there's anybody online.
I don't know.
Okay.
How am I gonna know?
Oh, I don't know.
I think Julie Hacker is gonna be online.
One participant.
There's one participant, but I think that's me.
Oh,
I think we're just live streaming and people are looking like here. Can you?
I don't too, but.
Oh, yes. We should, if they can listen. to
Yes,
me, I'm
that's
gonna
you.
Give it another 5 minutes before we can start. I think they see me
Okay.
through the camera.
okay, I will, I'll check back with you to see. if
Yeah,
you
I
have-
think there's a way to check, but I don't know how.
Okay, well, there'll be another person in there. You know what I mean? If somebody else starts to live
Or
stream,
I,
they will, you'll see a number there.
oh.
Should, right?
Well, if not, if it's a live stream. So live stream, people see, but you have to access the live, not the Zoom. I don't know. I'm not gonna, just tell Madison that I'm gonna teach the class. Be-
Okay, well, she's asked me to make a note of anybody that's on. stream. What?
Ask Sarah. I think you can enjoy the live stream and then you can see. Yes, I think that's the way that you do it, yes.
Oh.
But Sarah told me if you join the live stream from your phone, then you can see. So that's how you then know.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm gonna miss,
She looks really
let me take a video. Giveaways today, and I thought, you know what?
I love that
I'm gonna do some
I
little
love the
Valentine, you know,
outfit.
today's my last day. Yeah, it's a little long skirt, but you know what? I'm, it is. So, how good,
Thank you. So this is the 8th grade section? Have you attended all the ones? Most of them? How was the attendance of those? Low?
Yeah, so the first one and the second one were high and. And the first and third, and then we were able to.
Like plateau, like. Man, that's a shame because these was good, especially as a new agent. Nobody like taught me any of this when I was like I became an agent, and I learned everything on my own. But this is good. Let's give it another class. Let's start 9 to 5. I don't know if anybody's virtual. I'm sure they had to be. I know Julie told me she was. So have you done any transactions yet? Yeah, you'll get there. The first year, so I got my license. End of 23.
Okay.
Fairly new. Yeah, not new, but fairly. And I did close one. My first one was like maybe June 24. So it took me a few months. So from Ver one, I did a lot of prospecting. I cold call. I still do. And that's how I get all of the clients. And then get the client early on. I think it was maybe February, March. But he could not list right away. He needed to do some upgrades to the house. Okay. So I helped him manage that, and then we ended up listing April.
So when did you start? What month?
So I got my license end of November 23. Then the holidays came, I didn't do anything. I did sign up for a cold calling coaching. And then I ended up starting calling on the phones in January.
Okay.
And then within like maybe a couple of months, I did get a client from that. And then that's when I came in and I gave him suggestions and doing some upgrades to the house. Because it was actually a really nice area. It's on the Meadowthorpe subdivision. Are you familiar with that side? It's by kind of going Leestown Road. You get off of Leestown, it's to the left, so that stuff, those neighborhoods there. And then the main floor looked great of the house, but you go on the second floor, oh god, it was like it was like walking into a time machine. Not like wallpaper, it was his dad's property and he inherited it. He wasn't on probate anymore, like he had finished the probate process, so he was ready to sell it. And the second floor, he wasn't expired, he had it on the market, couldn't sell it. So listen, if you want to sell for this much, in this condition, it's just not gonna happen. You're gonna have to do some TLC to that second floor, and he did, he listened and he invested, I think it was like maybe 15K. So we were able to get an extra 25 because of it, and he got his money back and then an extra 10. But then he sold faster because of it,
Right.
because he was scared, like wallpaper was falling off and. Alright, we'll start now.
Yeah, Julie just texted me and said she's there.
Yeah, she's the only one, I think she might be the only one.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess since you're the only one, I'm gonna just direct this to you. How are you doing with your And I guess Julie, that's online, so I don't know if she's attending all the other ones, but I know you guys are doing some of your daily success system. How are you doing with that? Good, are you
Yeah.
implementing and doing your
Yes.
goals?
I actually farm.
You farmed?
Yeah.
Okay, good, how's that going?
It's going really well.
Really good, good, how long did you start farming?
I started farming on Halloween Day.
So the end of October,
So I hit my farm
once a month,
once a month right now.
once a month, are you doing mailers?
Now I'm door knocking.
Your door knocking, how is that going? I wanna start, I'm gonna door knock a little bit of expires.
Yeah.
It's hard to get them on the phone.
Right.
How
That's
is
fine.
door knocking going for you? Okay.
I
Good.
have 1,000 houses so far in 2 different places. And
Oh, yeah,
a lot of the, like I'm on month 4, so more people know me.
of course.
And so I have a QR code to
Like
gather
scan.
data. And I have a new voice, so I do a farm, I'm doing 50 first dates, and I have a QR code scan with a drawing of everyone.
Oh, good. Are people like scanning and trying to
Yeah,
get into your
and-
database?
Especially now that I'm in my 4th month. They know who I am, so.
It takes time. Anything that you do takes literally, I think in what you do now, you don't see the results for another
Well,
3 to 6 months.
I thought I'm like, I have to make 10 phone calls, but I don't have to make 10 phone calls because I'm making those connections.
It's what, I think it's, you can translate that into contacts, so if you do them in person or
Even if it's not every day, as long as I get my 50
what's your goal, 50 a week?
a week.
That's good number.
Yeah.
Well, good. So today we're gonna be talking about the seller as part of the transaction. I know in the past, I think the last ignite was the buyers, correct? Okay, and you talked a little bit about, anything relevant that you've learned with your farming, in your case, your farming, what has been kind of an aha moment for you with your farming?
I would be so relationship. I thought it would be more transactional and it's actually been,
More do you like that or do you? Okay, yeah, I think we are in the business of relationships and having conversations. Now, there's many agents that. Are very transactional and that works for them, especially the ones that work with investors or like, property in, property out. But for the most part, it's a very relationship driven business. And once you establish those and people start trusting you. You should have a client for life, honestly. So the agenda today, we're going to identify the A sellers and go ahead and I think you are on, let me get your workbook.
on page 15.3.
Which page?
15.3. Well, 15.2 for today's agenda.
15.2.3. So we are going to identify the A sellers and who are they and how do you know they are A sellers? We are going to apply approaches to request appointment from an A seller, apply the policy criteria to build the seller's confidence and demonstrate your expertise in handling buyers' objections to win business. To start thinking about what you learned today, let's consider questions, anything that you may think of, anything that's a relevant question. If we have this full, we can all kind of interact with each other, but if you do come up with any questions throughout, like when I'm talking, it's just you can kind of ask me, if not, you can write it down. Okay. And you were supposed to find a partner to talk about like for 5 minutes into what what you were hoping to get out of the class since there's nobody. Now tell me and that maybe that way I know what points to hit. What are you hoping to get out of today?
I think that we haven't been through. I'm interested in real estate. Checklist, all of it.
That's what you're seeing?
All, like the whole process.
The whole process, okay.
Covered
And you
it.
say you have not done a sub yet.
I did do a listing of it.
You did? How did that go?
It went well. He
Okay.
wanted to list, but I didn't do it. But he was still.
Oh, really? So he was unreasonable with his pricing? Okay, how far was he off? Do you remember?
45,000.
45,000, okay, and he was not willing to budge, he was like, pathetic. Because I'll tell you this, if I meet a seller, I'm gonna give you a little bit of hello, sir.
For Jesse?
Huh?
You doing it for Jesse?
No, this was actually mine.
I was thinking Jesse was this week, maybe it's next week.
Probably,
Alright.
probably. Good to see you.
Good.
So I have signed sellers and I have closed sellers that we have listed a little bit above than what I was kind of suggesting, but they weren't too far off. Like I had a seller over the kind of Beacon Hill area, that market. And we ended up, I suggested he should list at 2350, 375. I thought that was a good like range for him. We ended up looking at 285, but he actually closed to 285. So as long as they're not far off, depending on how that conversation feels like, if I think they're reasonable, they're not too far off for me. And I tell them, listen, what happens if we list at your price, time goes by and we're gonna know how far we are from pricing, what would what would you wanna do? And then they tell me, okay, well then at that point we can maybe adjust it, I'll take that listing because. They're not super like, did he end up selling listing with someone else? No, okay, he's probably not a strong seller. He's probably not, so I didn't want to list.
Just wanted to throw it out there and see what happens.
To see what happens, yeah, that is not a listing.
It's a rental property. So it's a rental, so he's like, let's see if I can, what I can get, and then I might rent it.
Yeah, no, that's not, you were probably gonna waste your time with that. So let's read this quote for a second. While leads are vital to our sales business, seller listings are critical to your ability to build it to a higher level with the lowest cost and highest net. And I'm gonna tell you what there is. Usually getting sellers a little bit more cost effective than buyers. A lot of buyers, like I decided to work with sellers from the beginning is because again, I was cold calling. I didn't have to spend tons of money on leads to find buyer leads. I think the easiest way is either to open houses, get signed from semi, or you just buy leads. With sellers, I decided to, you can farm, you can cold call, and what I quickly realized is that I could do more sellers than I could do buyers. And that's why I kind of lean towards sellers. Now, buyers do get you paid too, so at first I did not want any buyers. Now I do want to have a balance of at least a 70% and 30% of my business because buyers do get you paid and if they have a need, because it's the listing, you don't know where it's gonna sell. You can do all the beautiful marketing, you can do all the things, but sometimes, especially in our market, it's a balanced market. And things could take a little longer, so listings could take a little longer to sell than a buyer to buy. And in the last section, we talk about a buyers to begin your buyers and assign buyer agreements. So today we're going to talk about the same thing, but for sellers, okay?
Okay.
And those are the 8 qualified sellers I would initially. So what is an A qualified seller? An A qualified seller, and I think you have this in your workbook, if not, you wanna write it down. It is a seller or a person or human who is able, ready, and willing to do business within the next 14 buyers. What does able mean? Means they can sell the house. You have no idea how many people expire, especially this new construction. I've talked to people out of Richmond on all those new subdivisions, Nicholasville, that they want to sell, but they literally bought the house a year ago, 2 years ago, and they don't have enough equity to sell. Or they bought at the higher and then now they can't sell. So that's what able means. They may want to sell, but can they really sell? Unless you're gonna go on a short sale. So they have to be able, they have to be ready and willing to do business with you in the next 14 days. Hello, hi, how are you?
I apologize.
It's okay, you can settle in. We are on page 15.7, right? 15.7?
15.3.
15.3. Yes. Yeah, 15.3 of your work. If you have your Ignite work group,
When the seller, correct?
yes, we are talking about when the seller. I know in the past class, you guys talked about when the buyer. Today, we're gonna be talking about when the seller and getting on those listing appointments that we wanna get. And I was just telling Renee, and what's your name?
I am Carol.
Carol.
Yes, ma'am.
So Carol, I was just saying Renee, how a qualified seller is a person that is able and ready and willing to do business within the next 14 days. Now, let's say you meet a qualified, and I'm gonna go, they give me a beautiful script that I need to follow, but I'm also gonna throw my experiences in here. Let's say you do meet a seller that it's able, but it's not ready yet, and it's not ready to do business in the next 14 days. You still wanna put that person in the world. Because you want that person to remember you, you wanna continue to nurture them, so when they are ready to do something, you come in, so because through my prospecting efforts, I do a lot of circle prospecting. What is circle prospecting? Are you familiar with that? Cheryl, you familiar?
Could you tell me?
Sure, of course. So circle prospecting is pretty much just very much like farming. You door knock, I cold call a subdivision that I want to get into, or high equity owners that I know may be downsizing or selling at some point in the future. And with that, I talk to a lot of people that are like, hey, I do want to sell, but I'm just not ready to sell this year. I want to sell next year when kids finish school, college, or I'm going to make a transfer for another job. Okay, so when the time does come and you already have a realtor that you're obligated to work with, if they say no, then those people get into my world, and I continue to nurture them. I do mailers, just maybe don't know. I do a lot of things, so I stay top of mind with these people. I try to get their emails so they get my weekly newsletter. You can nurture them because you don't want to door knock forever, right? You want to have a pipeline of people that will be converting at some point in the future. So eventually the process of getting business is not as hard in time comes in, because door knocking, not fun. Cold calling, not fun. So I don't want to do it forever. Any questions on the eight sellers? No, okay. And our goal is with our sellers leads is to get appointments so we can get the listing agreement and sell the house. However, listings give us a lot of additional more benefits. We kind of touched a little bit about that. And again, even if you can, one of the things I actually like doing too is house previews. Like if they're not ready to list yet, but they'll allow me to walk their house to give them suggestions for when the time does come to sale. Nothing beats you getting face to face with them and start showing them value even when they haven't hired you yet. Even if it's just to have a conversation and to kind of get more clear what they want to do. But if you can get in the door even before you get to the listing appointment, that is going to solidify and make your listing appointment even stronger. So that's something you can also do. It might be and the way I pitch it, I'm like, hey, I don't know if this is gonna make sense or not to you, but a lot of the people I work with find benefit into meeting early on with me, so I can kind of help them prep the house and tell them if they want to do any repairs, if there's anything they want to adjust to the house before listing the market, they do have a little plan. Is that something you find value with doing at this point? And they can say yes or no, but at least you can pitch that conversation, because especially for me that I call your door knocking is a little different. They're seeing you there, but for me, all they hear is the voice. They don't know who I am. I'm a total stranger to them. It's hard for them to agree to that right off that, but if you continue to nurture them and at the time that you follow up with them, you suggest that again, as they get closer to listing, they may say yes to the house preview. So that's something I like to do, and it kind of changes the dynamics a little bit once they meet you in person. So all clients, and this is where I want you guys to think, they all are amazing. We love buyers and we love sellers, and we're grateful for all of them. Therefore, we need to give them our best work and efforts to either buyers or sellers. Now, sellers are a little special because they bring us listings, and we discussed this before. The basis of great real estate business are leads, listing, and leverage, which is this slide right here. Listings, leverage, leads, listings, leverage. And why leverage? We love listings because they bring us not just commission, but the ability to build relationships for repeat and referral business. They're bring us the best marketing opportunity in real estate while giving us more control over our time. Why I love listings? Because of that time piece. You know, once you keep the house in the market, when it comes to a listing a property, most of the bulk of the work it's going to be before you list this property, because you have to help this client, whether it's staging, whether it's getting the house organized, some of the things, and some of my value proposition with my clients. Everybody gets a personalized listing approach. Some clients will need to do remodel of the house before they put it on the market if they have the budget. So when I meet with a seller, I tell them, okay, and I'm very honest with them. So, and I'm going to talk to you about when I get to the listing presentation. I do kind of setting up the agenda, and I ask them to be fully transparent with them what's going to take to get the house to sold. I remember meeting with a seller. So in the pre-listing packet, when I dropped it off, and I was going to go over that, the house looked at that. We just closed in January. I told them, listen, if you list the house today, you're never going to be able to list for top dollar. You're going to see $100K less than what you would normally see if you do some TLC to the house. The house had paint on the door, the gutters, like the gutter guards were all like sticking up. The carpet was stained, the house was very cluttered. And again, they were just busy people. I was a little scared to walk into the listing appointment because I didn't know what kind of humans they were. But once I met them, I realized they're just very busy people that haven't had the time to really take care of the house. But they need a lot of help and they were open to receiving the help. So what I did for them, and I usually do for a lot of clients, I create like a pre-work kind of action plan for them to know exactly what they need to do by the time they need to do. So when I come listed, it's already done. And then they send me pictures, especially if they have to be cluttered, because a lot of the times I tell them to keep some items because I can use that for staging later on. But yes, they do bring you a lot of like listings, bring you a lot of flexibility with time because a lot of the heavy work is gonna be before you list. But once you list, you put your sign up there, unless you're listing over $1 million or maybe close to that, you may need to personally come to showings, especially if there's a lot of history in the house and there's a lot of stuff you have to communicate to the buyer's agent. But for the most part, you don't really have to show the house. Because all the agents show the house for you. You really put all the agents to work for you. That's why I love listings so much. Another thing that would be beneficial for listings, you get to control the market. You really get to price listings. You get to market yourself more because what? Those listings have minimum what? Your sign outside, right? It has your beautiful sign outside, it has your name. If you want to get creative with it, you can put flyers on the poles. I'm actually going to start doing that this year. So you can leverage more of your marketing and people see the kind of work you put out there based on your marketing efforts, videos, photos, etc. But also you make double commission on this listings because you may find buyers that don't have representation, that don't need representation. Let me tell you, I closed 3 transactions last year where I had the seller and then the buyer didn't care for representation. Where did they come from? One came from Zillow. She contacted me. Her mom was moving from Louisiana. She's bought many houses in the past. She didn't care for representation. She had a friend that owned the title company here, actually the land group. She was friend with the lawyer for the land group. And she didn't care for representation. I was very honest with her. I'm like, listen, you don't want representation. This is what I charge my client. I charge my client an extra 1%, and I'm your transaction coordinator. And my client is still the seller. I don't do dual agency. Do you guys are familiar with what dual agency is? I'm sure you are. I don't like doing dual agency because how am I gonna like negotiate with myself? It's really, really hard. So the most I usually do, I am the listing agent, the seller is my client, and I'm a transaction coordinator for the buyer. And all the transactions I took in that way closed last year. So she came like that and we ended up closing. Now let me tell you, some of these buyers without agents negotiate more than they had a realtor. It's just crazy. The other person that came in was a former realtor that his son was buying a house, so he didn't need representation either. And then the third person was someone out of state, actually. This one made me a little nervous because they were selling a house in, I want to say it was, I don't remember where, another state. And they were already under contract with a company called Red Door, where Red Door is. Have you familiar with Red Door? We don't have it in Kentucky. But Red Door gives people a contract. Now they buy the house usually for under market value, but they give you a contract and you can close with them in 2 weeks. It's like really, really fast. But I never knew anything about that. So I have to do a little research. But anyway, this guy has bought so many houses too. He's like, I don't need representation. I know what I'm doing. I know I need to do an inspection. I know the appraisal is gonna happen. His family wasn't afraid in the appraisal business. So this guy didn't need representation. We ended up closing it. It's fine. So when you have the listing, look at all the benefits. You market yourself, you have more leverage, control the market, and you can get extra. So in those 4 transactions, instead of making the normal I charge, I made an extra 1%, and that paycheck was really nice. All right, guys. So that is pretty much the A seller now. So based on, I think this is Gary Keller's version of, let me see what they call this, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent version of, I think we are on, yeah, versions of seller listings. So we are on this slide. What page is in your notebook?
There's the one that we have.
You don't have that one?
Yeah, I do, 15.4, got lines on it. Like definition.
Yeah, it's to be
Oh,
seller
okay,
listings
yeah,
and marketing opportunity.
It looks
So
different.
yeah, these are the versions of seller listings, and I kind of touch base on that a little bit. The seller listings mean marketing opportunities, again, through your signs, your like social media, your Electronic marketing, you have more control of your time. Just post the house in the market and usually other agents kind of show them for you, unless you have a unrepresented buyer. Again, I would run and show it because I really want to sell the house, so every time an unrepresented buyer called me, obviously I did my vetting to show this person was legit, this was a crazy maniac, I kind of searched them for one, I asked for copies of driver license, every time I'm gonna show an unrepresented buyer,
Okay.
I would ask for a copy of the driver's license. Because I wanna know who I'm dealing with, and if they refuse to give it to me, then maybe you're not serious about buying this house. I haven't had that issue, every time I requested the buyer's driver's license, it's giving it to me without a problem, so I usually ask them, hey. For my safety, just send me a copy of your driver's license, just so I know that you are who you are. Seller listings maximize your per hour compensation, again, you can do a lot more sellers than you can do buyers, because buyers are more time consuming, because you have to do a lot of showings. Now, one thing that this doesn't mention is sellers are a little more stressful. Why? Because there's pressures on. When this house is on the market, pressure is on. Every week that the house is in sale, that you pick up the phone and you do, and this is something that you want to do with every one of your clients, no matter what, especially sellers who want to pick up the phone once a week. During your listing appointment, you want to set the expectations of when are you going to hear from minimum once a week, if not more. And you're gonna tell them what you've been doing for the past week to promote the house. You gotta have tools in your toolkit. Because I don't bring them all at once. I kind of start like kind of letting that, seeing how the listing is behaving and then adjusting my marketing if needed. Sometimes you have to rearrange the listing description. Sometimes you have to rearrange the photos. I have had to retake some photos before. I have had to run some Facebook ads. I have had to get people in the Zillow showcase. So there is a lot of things you have to do, but one every week. These people are gonna look at you, why my house hasn't sold? Are we gonna do any pricing strategy? Are we gonna do any price improvement? And I had a broker not a while back, a broker before I came to PW, she was like, don't be announcing your price improvements like on Facebook. Or like on social media, because people that do care and are watching the house are gonna get it. The moment you do that trigger of price improvement in the MLS, everybody that's saving this property on Zillow everywhere, it's going to get the notification of what you're doing by showing it, say, hey, you haven't sold this house, and you kind of start creating a negative. So it had a point, I never put it on social media, but if I do kind of do a price improvement, those are the conversations you have on a weekly basis with your clients. And I would do a reverse prospecting on the MLS. Have you guys done that? You know what that is? There is a feature in our MLS.
Who looked at it,
Say that again?
where you see who has been looking.
Yes,
at
so you
the house.
see, once you have a listing, you want it promoted, right? So you're going to go and do reverse prospecting on your MLS and you're gonna see who out there in our market has buyers that are either looking at this price range in this location, ballpark what you have, and you email them. I do that every time a house goes on the market and every time I do a price improvement. Something you can do to, yes, something you
So
can do to,
Email them,
you email them.
okay,
What I've also picked up the phone and so those are the things I do.
call the agent,
Yes.
okay.
So I email them. I don't call when I do reverse prospecting, but if I see, so I 1 week I may do the reverse prospecting if I do any price improvement. Another week I said, okay, let me see who has buyers in the past 2 years near this area, so I can call them and see, or who has done more than one transaction in this area to see if they could potentially have a buyer for this listing. And I pick up the phone and I call agents and text agents because you actively have to get this house sold. So yes, listings are a little more stressful, but they come with a lot of perks. And if you really concentrate your business into that, you're going to love your commission checks and you should have more freedom with your business. You can do definitely more volume. That's why this says volume, volume, volume. You can do 10 listings at a time. You'd be okay. I mean, you're probably gonna get really tired if you choose a solo agent. But it could really be very enticing, doing more, obviously more volume.
And I like your verbiage when you said price improvement.
Yes, I never use price reduction, it's a price improvement, the price is better now, I try to make it a positive thing, so I always use price improvement instead of price reduction. With seller listings, you're on the front end of pricing, like I said, you get to control the market, because you get to price these properties. And you have to be kind of ballpark right, you can't be too crazy on pricing because it's not going to help anybody. And once we get to the listing presentation, I'll tell you how I have those conversations around the sellers, and it's just having a normal conversation. We shouldn't be nervous about the pricing because the pricing is the price. I tell my clients, I'm never gonna tell you what you list your house for. I'm gonna tell you, this is your range based on what the market near you is doing. It is up to you what you want to list it for. Now, I'm gonna tell you, if you are unrealistic, first, I'm probably not gonna work with you. And second of all, you're just gonna sit on the market and you're just gonna get frustrated. Nobody wants to have showings and showings and showings. And not get any results. It's just gonna frustrate everybody. And market as seller listings bring you more business. Like I said, I will talk about through all your marketing efforts that you do to list this property pretty much. Any questions so far? No, okay. Now, because of this qualities, focusing on these, some of your lead generation on listings is a good leverage for your business. So if you were just trying to get buyers in the past, if you kind of tweak that and try to get also a good number of listings, and again, that's the only thing I prospect for. But because I do listings, I get buyers coming with, like either the buyers I had last year were people that sold and bought and a referral. But the majority of my business last year came from listings. And right now I have 2 under contract and they're both listings. And you start getting to be known for the listing agent. And when I talk to prospects, I'm like, I specialize in listing, and that's what I do. And I also specialize on helping clients where other realtors fail to kind of sell those properties. That's where the expires and cancels come into play. Now, if you are prospecting expires and cancels in our market, no, you can't call withdrawn. Withdrawn are temporary of market. They still technically have the contract with a realtor, so you are not allowed to pull those people or door knocking, by the way. But cancels and expires are free.
I'm finding that everyone is on the do not call list.
Say that again?
I'm finding everyone I look up is on the do not call list.
Yes, you're gonna find a lot of people like that, but if you skip trace the house, you may get more than one phone number. And the extra phone numbers, a lot of the times are not in the do not call list. If you just get the one, probably, but typically it's a lot of, I don't, how are you getting the phone numbers? Forewarn.
Yeah.
So if you find like a skip tracing like software, you can put the address and it skip traces that address and it gives you all the numbers associated with that address. You can filter out the do not call list, but then you can call the other ones that are not do not call list. And you'd be surprised, sometimes the number says the do not call list, and then they tell you, even if it's not saying, you don't want to argue that, you're like, I'm sorry, there's maybe something wrong with my system. I would definitely just apologize, very, very discreet. Because even though sometimes they tell you you look at the number and it's just not listed, maybe they thought they did it, or maybe they thought they did the one number and not the other.
Okay.
Or maybe they swapped numbers and they forgot to do it, but yes, you can skip trace it and see if you can collect other numbers that are not.
So can I ask you about that later? Because I don't understand.
Skip trace.
I don't either, so.
So skip, yeah, that's probably for lead gen class.
Yeah.
Skip trace, there's just, you can Google the skip trace companies. I use one called Batch Leads. That's what I use.
SKI.
Batch, like a batch of something, Batch Leads. BATCH.
SKIP, skip.
Skip trace, yes, SKIP, yes.
Gotcha.
But there's more than one. You can just kind of see and that gives you all the phone numbers.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You got it? Yeah, that is the fastest way that you can probably get multiple numbers without one listing. Yeah, and if you're calling it for sale by owner, you just call it up. I mean, they're putting their number out there, so you don't have to check that one.
Oh,
They're putting their number out there. People are gonna call them. Yeah,
So canceled and expired.
you want it, yes, but for sale by owners, the number is a public number on Zillow. You don't have to say it for them. You can just have those. Yeah, pretty sure that's because it's it. That's right there. If they have it in the actual list, but it's on Zillow, where did you get my number? Well, it's on Zillow, sir. You don't get that question with for sale by owners. I also have gotten really good leads from for rent by owners, so that's a lead source. They also have their phone number there, so it makes it easier for you to call them. And yeah, I do have a few people in my pipeline that should hopefully convert this year from rent by owners. Because a lot of
that means they own the rental.
yes, so a lot of for rent by owners, what you will find with for sale by owners and for rent by owners. For sale by owners, a lot of them know what they're doing, never gonna list with an agent. Some of them are just testing the market. That you hear them, hey, I just put it out there to see what it did. Maybe I saw it by myself, but I'm never having intentions of staying. And then you ask them, well, if some time goes by, will you pay me if I stay in touch with you to see if I can help you be your backup plan when the time does come? And they're like, no, you can contact me. I actually lost one to Sheridan Sims from here. He was friend with the husband and I was talking to the wife and I wasn't even upset. I'm like, listen, he will take good care of you guys. But you will learn that for sale by owners are kind of testing the waters. They want to see if they can sell it on. I mean, could you blame them? If they can save some commission and they know what they're doing, I would do the same. And I tell them that. But if you don't know what you're doing, you can potentially lose more than you saving. So don't gamble with your money. So yeah, a lot of them would just test the waters, put it up there. And for rent by owners, the same. A lot of rent by owners are not investors. So they have their house, they moved out, their house is vacant. They're like, you know what? I'm gonna see if I can rent it. But then they start getting calls and then they're having a hard time, like, Christine, let me tell you, I took a rental client. It's a lot of work. You get so many calls, a lot of people are not even qualified. So yeah, they probably are getting bombarded, and you know what, this is more work than it's worth, I'm gonna just sell this property. Okay. So that's another lead source that you can use as supplement, and you don't even have to skip tracer number because you just search in Zillow, and most of the time people put it on Zillow, if not for salebyowner.com.
Cause I've been tracking down an owner in my farm and she's replaced the windows and it's empty, so I was like, I want to talk to her. But when I looked on the Do Not Call list, she's on it. Look at Zillow,
Yeah,
but Zillow and see if she has it on there, and then if the number's on there.
is she owns it, does she have to list it as a for sale?
I don't know, I have to
Check.
no, it's a rental.
Oh, it's a rent, if she doesn't have it actively renting, then it would show, unless she has it actually active for rent.
But it could be on Zillow.
If it's on Zillow, you can call it, I mean, whatever number shows on Zillow.
And thank you for explaining that. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, now remember, it's only if you have the properties actively on Zillow that the
Okay.
number is displayed.
Okay.
And if they're for rent by owner in Zillow and the number is displayed, they're just giving you the number, you just, well, they're never gonna argue that. Anybody that you skip trace or that you search for the number, you have to make sure that number is on the do not call list,
Okay,
Okay,
okay?
perfect.
Yeah.
thank you.
And we're gonna touch bases on that, how you can, I think in the market center, they have to register for it. I don't know exactly if they've done it here, but we're gonna go touch bases on that. Alright, any questions on the virtues of seller listings? So yeah, in the end, sellers are really good, business approach. Now, we're gonna talk about the seller service cycle, and we have talked a lot about the models. This model is proven to reap success with sellers. The success comes in any market with any seller. So we are going to talk about lead conversion, which is your first thing. You have to get a prospect from being just a random person to actually getting them into your world and make sure you convert that person to a lead that you're gonna nurture later down the line. Once this person is ready to have the listing conversations with you, that's when the pre-listing packet, which is your number 2, comes in. And I'll show you, I kind of gonna have to give you a little bit of what I do, because I don't think we have a pre-listing packet in the commands. We do have a listing presentation, and we'll go over that. But you can create your own pre-listing packet and then hand that out. You wanna do that before you're listing a home. And I don't wanna touch too much in detail, but if you do the pre-listing packet, it's just really gonna show how organized you are and how much you put effort into your business. And by the time you really see with the seller for the listing presentation, it's usually a no-brainer. These people don't even like question you. Then you get servicing and marketing, which that's where you kind of sign the person, put the, do all your pre-working activities, to put it in the MLS, do your marketing. Then you go into your offer negotiations. That's where you actively start getting offers in and you start negotiating on behalf of your seller. And then contract to close. Once you get it under contract, how do you navigate and help this person, how to guide them to get to the closing table? Because remember, I tell my clients all the time, especially if you're in a multiple offer situation, an offer means nothing unless you close it. So you really have to vet this offers, and the best thing you can do for yourself is once you get an offer, and one of the things I do, if you want to write this down, I'm not sure if it's exactly in what we're gonna cover, but one of the things I do during the contract and offer negotiation, I call the seller, I call the buyer's agent. I never accept an offer without even talking to the buyer's agent. Why is this person wanting to buy the house? Do you think they'll have second thought, any buyer's remorse, and I usually don't ask, are they gonna back out? I'm like, hey, if we get this client under contract, what are the probabilities of us getting to the closing table? How much does your client like this house? Because I'm not gonna get my clients under contract, because what happens if you fall out of contract and you go back on the market? You start being like the X house out there. So I usually will call the buyer's agent, feel them out, that's all you gotta do, feel them out. You wanna call the lender too, I call every lender before I accept an offer, because I wanna know if this person that's putting an offer, it's solid to get to the closing table, because an offer without closing means nothing to me. So before I even talk to my clients, I've already done that pre-work, and then once I get an offer, I summarize it for them. I don't just send them a contract and then we get together. I send them a contract with an offer summary. What does an offer summary entail? Well, the offer price, are they asking for any concessions? How much of the earnest money are they offering? Because by that, two things can happen if there's a very low earnest money. Either it's someone outside of our market and kind of used to doing that lower number. Because I just got one with $500. I'm like, I'm not getting my clients with a $500 earnest money. You can forget. 2,500 is the minimum. And then it's it. So they're either people outside or they're just not serious buyers, meaning they don't want to have their money tied up. Then that makes me really, really nervous. You want to know how many days of the diligence period you have. You want to know what the appraisal, when can they close, all that. Are they asking for, are there any contingencies? So all that I put in kind of summary sheet. So when I sit with my clients, we review one at a time. Are they asking for anything extra? Like if, I don't know, if there's a furniture piece. So you have to really read the offer and summarize it for your clients before you do that. So that's actually, and again, remember, once you sign a client, you want to make sure those people get white gloves experience all the ways to the closing table, because that is what's going to get you from door knocking. That's what's going to get you the referrals that you want to get down the line. And then the post-close systems. And again, no one has it perfect. I'm still kind of to implement those myself. But what do you want to do as your post-closing? How do you touch bases with your clients? Birthdays are very good. So I do have an app. Everybody that I onboard a client, and one of the things you want to do too, and I don't even tell them why I do it. I ask for their driver's license. Why I ask for their driver's license? Because I want to do two things. I want to get the date of birth, their birthday, and I want to get their legal names. Because you have no idea how many clients at the beginning were upset at me because I misspelled her or I missed their middle name. So I do it to avoid any issues, cut myself, and I just guilt to birds in myself. So I get the driver's license, I know and I put it into that loop file, so I know what the legal name is. I get their birthdays, they go into my app, and then they go into my CRM. All of my clients get their weekly newsletters, just like prospects do, because I want to make sure they're always seeing me no matter what after the fact. Because I want to, like, I meet with them and I'm like, listen, I'm gonna give you such an amazing experience. So the day of tomorrow, when someone asks you for an agent, you don't think about someone else but me. Because how am I sitting at this table with you today? They're like, will you call me? I'm like, exactly. You know how hard that is? I do not want to be calling for the rest of my life. And they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And it's kind of an icebreaker. Also, when you do kind of the appointment. But yes, these are the seller service cycle. What you do from lead all the way to your post-close system. So like I said, birthdays, anniversaries, and then Keller Williams is great at giving you ideas like the Popeyes or the giveaway. Let me tell you, I'm this little story. I was low-key scared about doing this giveaway. And I'm like, this thing is not gonna work. I'm gonna do it because I'm gonna try and see what happens. I was so surprised. People call, it was a fun thing. Everybody was like, hey, I'm calling. And it's like a happy thing. People are like excited to get into the giveaway, and that's just an opportunity to do another touch with your clients. And generate leads. I did post it on social media and I probably promoted it the way I should have, and I still get 2 buyer leads getting into my world from social media. They call me and then they're now in my world, getting my email, seeing my face once a week. Any questions? No? Alright. Go into the next thing that we have. Any aha moments? We have a lot of aha moments in this Ignite classes. Any aha moments for you so far from everything that we talked about? No?
Well, I like the call the buyer's realtor, if they give an offer.
Yes.
Just to touch base.
Oh, yes,
I
you
hadn't
want to
thought
feel
about
those
that.
buyer's agents out. Not only you want to know what kind of client they have and what kind of client you're getting your client under contract with, but what kind of realtor they are. Because I'm gonna start feeling right now if they're gonna be a nightmare for you. How much of a communicator. At the end of the day, your job is to really mitigate this transaction and get your client to, your client's interest come first. But you just gotta know what you're getting yourself into right from the beginning. Now, I'm telling you, I have been blessed with the best agents in our market. I have very little complaint. But I've had a couple of occasions where, yeah, they're bullies. It's just who they are. And it's just, it is what it is. But yeah, and have my clients' interest not being the only thing I care, my response to the theatrical problem is very different. But at the end of the day, you just gotta find middle grounds, to get your breath, get this client to the closing table because it's not their client's fault. Their clients may not be bullies, but the realtors, some of the realtors, and as you start doing transactions, you will learn that's something that's just a way of negotiating, and negotiating is about finding middle ground. You don't have to be a bully to this other agent, because guess what? You don't have to continue to work with this other agent, and now I know who you are. Now, every time I get a transaction, I'm gonna like run on like, I don't know, on glass, and, but yes, some of the agents, and if you don't put your foot down, they, especially if you're kind of newer in the market, at the beginning, so I had, my first listing was a $900,000 listing, first list, I was lost. Don't tell anybody, my client didn't know that. And I was coming to the showings because my client requested I come to the showings and I agreed to it. And you don't have to agree to it, but if you gave your word, you have to commit to it. Like I have a client in Georgetown, it's just less than 300,000. This woman is picky Lord. And I committed to come to her house twice a week. I'm gonna come to her house twice a week. Anyways, this client asked me to come to the showings. He was very particular about people in his house. And you gotta do what your clients request. And to top it off, it's communicating via blast. Oh, you have no idea how this realtors, but like, is your client having you, like buyer's agent babysit? They just gave me the worst things. I'm like, listen, this is what my client wants. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna stay away from you, but I'm gonna be there. Do you wanna show the house or not? So anyways, it worked out. I showed the house. I didn't sell it the first time. It did not sell. Because it was also divorced people and it was a little challenging, but eventually, second time around, they came back to me and then they hated me.
Lexington is very small, so if you make a bad impression.
I know. It's just, and you want this realtors, let me tell you, if you're going to be a listing agent, you want this realtors to actually bring you clients. So I am very good to really working, collaborate with the other side. At the end of the day, we both are pulling for our clients, but you can have a very amicable, very professional, and very collaborative relationship with those realtors because the day of tomorrow, you have a listing, you want them to work with you. Something I do at the end of each closing, if it was a pleasant realtor and I enjoy working with them and they really work with me to get to the closing table, they get a thank you card and a gift from me. Sometimes they get like a little gift card, like right now I send a pen with like, those are little things, and then they don't get it to me from me at closing. I mail it to their house. I use 411 for that. I put their phone number, I get their property address, and I just mail them something. And I love to get, hey, I got your little gift. Because I want those realtors to be happy working with me. And I want them to know that if they bring me a buyer, it's gonna be a very pleasant transaction. I'm not gonna be a bully. We're gonna work together to get this thing to the closing table. Everything got paid and everybody's gonna be happy.
I have a question on the pin. You mean a pink pen or?
I just a brand new plan, and I have a system where where I do my mailers, and I don't know if Command does Gift. But there's many systems, before I joined KW, I already have my systems in place, like I use Follow Boss, and everything connects to this mailer system, but they also do Gift. So all I have to do is find what I wanna send, I can personalize it, so I put his name on it with a thank you card that says.
Put his name on it.
Yeah.
If you do a gift at closing,
For my clients,
Yeah.
everybody gets a gift at closing.
okay, like a housewarming gift.
Depending if it's a buyer, again, sometimes I do charcuterie boards, like if I know this buyer, I think anything, you don't have to do closing gift at the end of the day. This is, they're paying you to give for service, but I do like to do a closing gift because at the end of the day, I'm grateful. They could have worked with any other agent in our market, any other agent, there's 4,000 of us, but then they work with me. So I am very grateful that they gave me the opportunity, so I always do a closing gift.
When I bought houses, I've received gifts from some realtors and not from others, and I remember the realtor they gave.
You don't have to, but I think it's very memorable, and I try to do something very unique. Sometimes if I'm in a rush, I would do a gift card, but it's not something you should do. You should really do something more personal. Like if I know they're buyers and I know they're like moving in the middle and they like beer. So this last buyers I had the charcuterie boards and I got them a sample of different type of beers and I bought them the glasses and I put them in the fridge. So when they got there, it was cold for the beer and they were moving. My other clients also, I got a charcuterie board, I gave them champagne with champagne glasses, and they loved the house they sold. So I bought a digital frame from Amazon. It was like $30. I try to stay within the budget. you shouldn't be spending, like I see this realtor finding all this crazy stuff, no, you don't have to go.
Yeah.
Even if it's a little thing, as long as it's memorable, that's all you care.
Just what you do, I'm gonna buy a house from you.
I give him, like I put a little frame, digital frame, so when they bought the new house, they had the memories of the old house, because
Yes.
they really love the old house. So we had the pictures from the old house. The last closing, oh, my last clients they moved to Bowling Green, so I just send them a set of candles that says specially made for them, and it was like personalized, and the realtor got the pen. Sometimes one time the realtor, I didn't deserve a penny, so I sent it to the lender. The lender got the gift. Because I worked directly with the lender, because this realtor was non-existent, and I'm gonna find solutions. That's one of the things you wanna be as an agent. Whether you're working with the buyers, with the seller, you're going to come across a bunch of things that are gonna go wrong. Like things are gonna happen. Instead of dwelling into, oh my God, this is all going wrong, you have to be the agent that's gonna find solutions. That's what's gonna get you to, and before you stress your clients. I don't stress my clients until I absolutely have to stress them. I mitigate that because I want them to have I don't want to like worry about a little thing. But you have to be the agent that finds solutions. That's what's gonna get you to from finding a lead to doing all this stuff, to get to the closing table and get you referrals after the fact.
Okay,
Mhm.
alright, good ideas, thank you.
Yes, any questions? No, alright, I think I'm taking too much time. So the next thing we're gonna talk about is how to get the appointment. So once you get a lead, especially a seller that is ready, you wanna respond right away to this lead inquiry. Whether it's the KW website, like for me, for my prospecting, I now have an ISA that does the cold calls for me. He's the one that does the circle prospecting for me. As soon as a lead comes into my world, I have systems set up that lead gets an email from me and a text message, and I don't have to even lift a finger. It automatically does it because I created a system that automates this emails, because lead to speed, it's huge. If this lead doesn't hear from you right away, your chance of them remembering you and then converting, it's very low. And not only you have to do that initial contact, but you have to nurture your leads. They have to hear from you. One of the things I do, the weekly thing, if someone comes into my world, depending on their time frame of selling, they're gonna get either weekly mailers, or they're gonna get monthly mailers, or they're gonna get quarterly mailers. Something you also wanna do is, once you talk to a lead, and I'm gonna tell you why you do this. You are gonna ask the lead, okay, you're moving 2027 because your kids are gonna finish college or finish school at that time. And I try to ask, can you rent it? I try to challenge their selling, because I don't wanna lease stuff people if they're never gonna sell it. I don't wanna put them in my world. But let's say, no, I'm gonna sell this house. Okay, got it. Once you sell, are you going to stay locally? Are you gonna relocate to another state? I'm just curious what your plans is. You wanna also see how better you can serve them. They'll tell you, and I'm like, okay, the last question I ask, is when would you wanna hear back from me? Because when I call them again, my intro will be, so let's say I asked someone that and they're like, okay, well, I'm doing 2027, but you can call me next year, because things could change and the timeline could change. So I will call that person next year. Sometimes, depending on the timeline, I cut it in half, because the timeline changes all the time. So when I call that person 2026, I'm like, hey, it's Oksana. I don't know if you remember talking to me last year. Something I also do, and this is funny, but it works. I usually ask them, I'm like, listen, this is gonna be a very odd question, but what is your favorite food? And they're like, and they pause for a second, I'm like, listen, the only reason I'm asking you this is because when I call you a year from now, you're not gonna remember. But if I tell you, and I just tested that last week, if I tell you your favorite food is this, you're definitely gonna remember. And sure enough, I talked to a prospect last week that I talked to last year that told me his food is chocolate, his favorite food. And then when I talked to him, he did not remember my name. I'm like, okay, well, but you told me your favorite food was chocolate. He's like, well, then you definitely talked to me. And then that's kind of an icebreaker for that next conversation. If you don't do that, you still want to mention, say, hey, last time you spoke, it was, I don't know, 10 months ago, sometimes last year. When we spoke, you told me to call you around this time of the year, because you were gonna do this and this and this with your property. Has the timeline changed, or the plan still the same? And then that's how you kind of break that initial. I would call all day long following up. It was the most nerve-wracking thing I ever did. I don't know why, until I figured out just to do that kind of line, and it's very good icebreaker, and then they tell you, and then you can do the qualifying again. And then keep them in your world again, when you wanna hear back from me again, it's like that. And make sure you call when you said you were going to. So that's why you have to have very, very tight systems that are going to remember you when you need to call those people. You have to have tags. Something I learned this year is I had people, like I would tag it by months of the year that I needed to call them, but I wasn't tagging by the year that we're gonna close the transaction, or they said that we're gonna do something. So I didn't really have a visual of the people that were gonna convert this year. So thankfully, I didn't have that many people in my CRM yet, I only had like 250. So I sat there and had to go one by one and tag, and what that does is at the beginning of the year, you can do stack 2026, and you can have a longer list of people that you know said we're gonna do something this year.
So you just tagged me here.
I tagged the year, and this was a math coach suggestion. I was talking to my coach and I was, have this huge goal, and she's like, why are you so nervous about your numbers? I'm like, well, it's just hard to know when your leads are gonna come. I don't even know which ones are gonna convert this year. I know I have all these people in my database. She's like, you need to tag it by the year. So I have 30. That was by January when I did it. That's not counting anybody that came into my role after that. But I had about 30 people that said we're gonna do something this year. Now, not everybody's gonna convert. Some people may end up doing something, some may end up listening by, on their own. But for the most part, if you did a really good job on that initial contact, they should be people that will convert. If you also did a good job staying top of mind and nurturing in contact that you said you did. You want to get value and complete content information, save it to your command and create an opportunity. This is if you're using Command CRM, which you should. Like for me, it's because I already have follow-up created, but if I had joined Keller Williams early on and they gave me this for free, I most certainly would have used it. Now everything is in Follow Boss, and I get my text, they have a phone number set up, my signs have that, so switching that would probably for me will be more worth than what it's worth, but you wanna have a CRM of some sort. If it's not Command, then no, have to have a CRM. That is a non-negotiable, and it's the first thing that you should do for your business. Because if you don't know how to keep track of these people, they're just gonna end up in the air, and you're always gonna be circling and running like a crazy person, or stressing over not finding enough
Do you have
business.
any other tag recommendations?
Any tag
Recommendations?
recommendations? Yes, so I wanna know what source they came from. Are they for sale by owners, for rent by owners, or prospecting? But I try to keep it simple, because if you tag somebody, like it's just gonna time consuming. That for me, now that I have an ISA, I have an ISA qualified lead, I don't qualify lead, and that's what triggers the initial text message and email. So when ISA lead comes in, I try to call that person, and the text message says that, hey, I'm gonna call you either today or tomorrow, unless you recommend otherwise. And I just pick up the phone, I'm like, hey, you talked to my associate, blah, 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 blah. So when I introduce myself and confirm, now that's a little bit more advanced, that's if you already have someone helping you. But if not, you wanna at least keep yourself organized, so you know when you gotta touch these people next time. You can't just put them in the CRM like that, no, because they just, and you have to put notes. If someone gets into your world, then notes are so important, because that's also going to be your starting point for your next conversation. Hey, when we talked, you told me this, you said to contact you around this time. Is the plan still the same, or has things changed on this? That's it. Notes are very important. Determine their motivation to sell as you can speak to it. You always want to know why they want to sell. And you want to confirm that every time you call them, right? When you call them the second time, after their initial phone call, like, hey, you said you were gonna sell for this and this reason. Again, is that still the same, or has things changed at this point? And you wanna set the appointment time and day for as soon as possible and send it for listing packing. Now, what I've learned, people are not gonna leave you an appointment until you're ready, but you can always ask for it if you think it's the right fit in the conversation, okay? One way that you can ask for an appointment, especially if I'm talking to for sale by owners, I ask them, hey, listen, you sometimes goes by, you haven't bought this property, are you gonna be exploring other options to help you get this house sold? And they tell me, yeah, most likely 45 days go by, I am probably gonna start interviewing agents. I'm like, okay, got it, and then say to us that when the time does come, you already have an agent that can help you with that. They're like, no, actually, I don't. I'm like, okay, well, would you hate me if I stay in touch? They're like, no, you can contact me. When would it make sense for me to give you another call? Oh, you can contact me. Look, they said 45 days, usually like 3 weeks. For sale by owners are always gonna take action sooner. So you always, whatever they tell you, you cut it in half. And you're like, okay, well, I guess before I let you go, can I make a quick recommendation? Always ask for permission. Your request for the appointment will be taken so much better. If I were to suggest somebody come over to your house today, and once I'm there, I can show you a strategy that can get you the money that you're looking for and get you to, let's say they wanna move to Florida, and get you to Florida within 30 days or a little bit more or less. Would you be opposed to that at this point? And then see what's, a lot of the time, this for sale by owners will tell you, yes, but you're not gonna get what you're gonna ask, you have to ask for the appointment every time. And if they say, no, not at this time, you wanna challenge it, you're like, okay, well, when you say not at this time, does it mean you don't want it now? Or you think you're gonna start doing, interviews sooner than what you said, or maybe something else. You always wanna challenge it a little bit, you wanna kind of double down on that objection. But just ask for the appointment, that's how you set appointments, okay? And time and day, you wanna get the time and day for as soon as possible and send it to listing tag, and we're gonna talk in detail about the listing tag, and then every time you set an appointment, I don't know, people sometimes don't like to confirm them, I do like to confirm appointment. Because if any professional that you make an appointment with will confirm, if you get an appointment at a doctor's office, you're gonna get like a text message or a phone call, so I like to confirm all my appointments, if you have an assistant, perfect, have the assistant confirm, but you wanna confirm the appointments, okay? What sellers want to get most from their agent, 21%. Says help price home competitive. 20% says help seller market home to potential buyers. 60% says to help the home sell within a specific time frame. So they're talking about pricing, timing, and marketing, right? The main three things, and then help sellers find ways to fix up the home to sell for more. And let me tell you how I invest a lot in the 60%, and a lot of your sellers will care for it because it's part of your value proposition. Let me tell you how I see this. I see these listings and this beautiful photographer. Hire the most beautiful photographer. This house looks so not picture ready. I had a client who wasn't expired. He ended up selling with me. Obviously, we sold it. The previous photos, beautiful photos, but there were like the counter were full of like Tupperwares. The bathrooms were not organized. I even told my clients, I'm gonna give you a budget. Tell me your budget. I am gonna give you a list of things you have to buy from Amazon. Velvet blankets, I hate them. They don't photograph well. Anybody that has velvet blankets, go in the closet. You're gonna buy this $49 comforters that are beautiful, that are gonna show your house so much better, that it's gonna lead to how you got. They're neutral color, and people listen. Let me tell you, people will listen to you and do exactly what you tell them if they believe that you're gonna sell the house for top dollar. Now, you have to communicate that in a way that they're gonna trust you and believe you. If not, it's just not gonna work well. I've known realtors that have suggested repairs that were taken, because again, at the appointment, you wanna ask for permission to be super honest with them, and that's where, then once you suggest those things, they'll not well. And as long as you follow through with your word, you can say, hey, I'm gonna send you a list of things that you need to get for your house, and that list never comes. So I do a lot of homework. Like if I know I need a table for the hallway or for the foyer area, I have to go find a table that's gonna match that foyer area, and I have to do a Wayfair. And obviously, I'm not gonna have them spend thousands of dollars, but we do it in a very, very tight budget. I wish I could show you this house. Let me see. Hold on, let me see if I can. Karen, can you Google here? Yeah, you can, right? Let me see if I don't remember the property of the other address. Kingsway, Richmond. I'm gonna show you everything we bought for this house. I don't remember the property address though. Let me go. No, I have to log in. Don't worry about it. But if I find it later, I'll show it to you guys and I'll tell you everything about that. For that one house, they bought comforters and I'm running staging items. So little by little, I have been buying like flower decors, like frames, candles, candle holders. Little by little, I have been kind of like adding more to my inventory of little staging items because they don't have everything. So I do help bring those to help them stage. But let me tell you how much sellers appreciate that so much, and the house do shows so much better. Like people walk in, remember, and I tell clients, hey, selling property, it's an art. It's not just what they see, but how they feel when they walk into your property. A lot of the times, if the sellers are not, sensitive to scents, I will bring like a diffuser. I have a commercial diffuser for some of my luxury listings with this beautiful oil scent. I put it online. Actually, this was an investment property of mine. But yes, you do want to show that experience when people walk the most listing of yours and it all comes as a package, right? Your clients are gonna love you, they're gonna refer you, and the realtors know whenever they bring buyers to your listings, they're just gonna show up because you're that agent that does that. All right, any questions for me?
Yeah, what do you do about cigarette smoke?
You have to be very honest with the client. And I'm like, listen, it sounds, yes, you just have to be honest with them. We're gonna have to figure out a way to mitigate this scent, and you probably either gonna have to, depending if it's super strong, sometimes painting helps. They have to get, sometimes they have to install like, oh, they get one of those things to like
Ozone machine.
fresh the air.
Ozone, is that ozone machine?
Yeah, something like that,
Okay.
because that would turn off any buyer. Like
Yeah.
head smells will turn off buyers. I tell my clients, if you know you're gonna have a showing, try not to cook right before the showing. Obviously, you have to live in this house, so you have to be careful. You can be, and I tell them, I'm just giving you suggestions, but this is your house, you have to live in. Now, I do wanna ask you that if you wanna sell this house, you're gonna see the pictures, the house has to look exactly like the pictures that they have here. You can't just put all this effort now, and then when the showing happens, it's not like this. Like,
Okay,
you can. So you wanna sell your house, right? And then I'm looking straight in the eyes at that, and let me tell you, people humble down. Are welcoming your advice, listen, and will follow exactly what you want them to do. And that's how I get to sell all my houses, because no, I don't ask from the beginning, but it pays off in the long run, and then they're happy.
and the-
Yeah. And you guys wanna take a quick break? No? Okay. Wanna keep going? Alright, let me take some water. Okay, let me see if I do wanna show that listing. I think it's 2016, let me see. Yes, okay, see if you can see it. So this house. So obviously we have beautiful photos. Oh, now it's only the front photo, great. What happened to the other photos? It's okay. I'll try to put it up from the MLS after we finish class, when we get it. Yeah, we did a lot of like stuff with the house. We bought a bunch of, like, I helped my clients get a list of things together, and they were so happy. They actually, we only did one, now sometimes you get lucky too. You just get lucky. This house was in Richmond, a lot of new construction. I'm like, holy crap, I have to really make this house look beautiful because I need to make sure this people sell. They just had a newborn baby. Actually, it was coming on the way, and I even put a frame in the baby's room because I didn't want people to go in there. So little things that go a long way, guys. People love you for it. Like, you have no idea. Once we get to close, we're like, oh my God, you were so amazing. You did all this stuff for us. And they ended up getting the contract the day after the baby was born. So they didn't even have to show it while the newborn was born, after the newborn was born. And I got lucky. There was the one showing that got under contract. Only one showing, because I put it on the market for a week, crickets, nobody. Where did this buyer from? That's why you also have to pick up the phone every time they call. I get a phone call from like a weird, I don't know, area code. Pick up the phone and I say hello, and they're like, hey, I just like your listing here. I wanna come take a look at it. Again, I do my homework, I get the license, make sure this person is legit. Why do you wanna see it? Because I'm also not gonna get anybody, I'm not gonna go like the extra mile if this person is just gonna waste my time. And I told them, if you're gonna waste my time and you're not ready to buy, you told me, because I will come show it to you when I have time. I'm not gonna go the extra mile because this is not my own listing. I'm busy. And your time in this business and in any business, it's mine. So I am very transparent with everybody, and they're like, no, and then I ask for pre-approval before I show it. I'm like, okay, so can you send me? And if they're like, listen, I really am not wasting your time, I would be a cash buyer, or I can get a pre-approval right away. Depending if my gut feeling tells me this is a good thing, because I did that, and sure enough, she did get the pre-approval. I'm like, I will not set an offer until you get me my pre-approval, and she got me a pre-approval. You have to kind of feel it out and see, but getting a license is definitely something I would definitely encourage you to. All right, hopefully you're learning something on this. Sellers. I love sellers. Sellers are my favorite transactions. And then, other things, it's, I think there's nothing in here, but pretty much sellers, you wanna help pricing, marketing, bring them buyers, helping them get ready and get to the next chapter of their life, okay? You gotta build confidence and trust with the sellers. What are some of the ways that you can build confidence and trust with the sellers? Hey, can you think of anything?
Call when you say,
Say that again?
Right.
call when you say, well,
Exactly. Or when you say you follow through, the pre-listing packet, you wanna make sure you drop that off. What is a pre-listing packet? And I don't think we have one in command. But a pre-listing packet is something that you're going to bring prior to your listing appointment to kind of set you up for success on that listing appointment. My pre-listing packet, I have a intro, kind of a little bit of a summarize of a marketing strategy. And I have a sheet, 2 pages, I think, of home improvements. I want them to write them down and summarize everything they've done throughout the year from that house. I also show all my Google reviews, and again, if you don't have any, you can skip that. But you really want to show these people the kind of agent you are before you go even into the listing appointment. Let me tell you, once you go to the listing appointment, your listing packet is at the table. So when I have a first conversation, and you can implement this, by the way, let's say you connect with the seller, you always want to send a little thank you card. I send a thank you card right after that first conversation and I handwrite that. It's a lot of work, but it works. You handwrite thank you. If like this client, this house that I showed here, the 2016 Kernsway, they were expecting a baby. He told me my wife is pregnant. I'm like, let me go I don't know, something told me go the extra mile. I don't do it for every person, obviously, because it's gonna be crazy expensive. But I did buy from Amazon a candle that said, that's it, you guys are gonna be great parents. So my thank you card went with that candle. And I also put a magnet. So you get your business card and you make magnets of those business cards. Let me tell you how many listing appointments I've gone where my magnet is. Put a magnet and I put a scratch off on that thank you card, like a little something. And those people hired me because of the candle. He messaged me, he was like, he emailed me, he's like, hey, we got your gift. Thank you so much. That's how people get business. When we're ready to list this house, we'll call you. And he told me it was gonna be after the baby was born. Well, the next month he called, he called me, he's like, hey, I think we're just gonna get ready to list now. And yeah. And then once you go to the interview, that's it. They already made up their mind that they're gonna hire you. If you really do the little things do count. And we also have to do a good job of communicating things after the close, because these people actually moved to Florida and didn't tell me they were gonna move to Florida. And I saw it on Facebook, I'm like, where are you guys going? They moved to Tennessee, they were renting in Tennessee, but they're like, they're pilots. So him and his wife are pilots. And then I guess they got tired of the cold and then they went to Florida. And that's where you have to communicate everything, because you think they're gonna think of you when they move to Florida, you know? I'm like, why are you guys going to Florida? Who's helping you? Oh no, we found someone. I'm like, why didn't you tell me? I'm gonna find you the best agent in Florida. But it's okay. I hope you guys love it. Blah blah blah. They're sweet couple. So that's why you have to communicate all of the time. Make sure your client will know exactly after closing they can still count on you for. So I missed it. That was my fault. I can blame them. But so you have to now I'm doing a better job. Hey, where are you going? Let me help you find an agent when you're ready to buy. So I just got a referral from Bowling Green because my clients moved from Bowling. But all you can do is learn from that one and then change the strategy and make sure you start implementing systems, or at least you communicate it. Hey, I know you're moving, just let them know. You want to stay in touch, touch bases with them after closing too, at least a month later. I try to, hey, the first few days, how are you guys settling in? After a month, hey, how's it been? Do you need help with anything? If you still gotta collect, like my clients now, they close on the house and they put a deposit for the utility, and then they told me that the utilities told them that within 6 months, after 4 months or 6 months, they can get the deposit back. I have a little note, I have a calendar reminder, because I wanna tell them, hey, remember to give you $500. Little things, but you have to put them on your CRM, so that's one of the things. Once I close the file, I go into my notes, and if I have to put anything to remind me of things, then I put it in there. All right, so you gotta build the trust. One of the things I also do to start building that trust from that initial, I call it setting the agenda. So I sit with the client and I'm like, listen, thank you for having me today. And I guess before I even start start my conversation with you and how we're gonna go over about what it would take to sell your house. Can I ask you something? They're like, sure, like, do I have your permission to be 100% honest with you, what it was gonna take to get your house sold? I want you to tell me now, because if you're not comfortable with that, maybe I'm not your agent, because I'm here to really tell you what you would need to do exactly to get this house sold for top dollar. Do I have your permission to do that? Can I be fully transparent with you? And if they say yes, that's how you start, and they start trusting you, because they can see that you really care, but you're also gonna be honest with them. Because if you have someone that you think cares about you, wouldn't you want them to do the same for you? Right? You don't want to blame you. So exactly. So I usually start doing that, set the agenda, and then I do what I said earlier. Hey, I'm gonna give you, because at the end of the day, my goal is to give you such an amazing service that when someone asks you for an agent, I'm the only one to think about, and all that starts clicking, and then you're going to your listing appointment, listing presentation, everything that you have to go over. We do have an example of a listing presentation on command. Your focus during this listing appointments is not to sell, it is to provide value. Meet their real estate needs and secure the appointment. They need to experience what it's like to work with an agent who asks questions, listens, and cares. One of the things I do too, and I think we have it here on the next slide. I want to get ahead. Okay, so 7 close to appointment tactics. Show the benefit. Take back close. Negative, positive close. Give them what they're looking for. Trial close, and something close, and tie downs close. Let's see what they have here for you. The same close to appointment tactics you use with your buyer, work with sellers. See them in the participant guide. You should have them somewhere in your participant guide. I think we're on what page are we in?
15.7.
50.7. Don't leave any conversation without asking for the appointment multiple times. Remember when I call, I do ask for the appointment more than once. You always want to do that. The worst they can do is say no. Remember, once you have a conversation with someone about doing business with you, especially with me through prospecting or door knocking, you already know, right? They're not doing business with you. So what's the worst that can happen? They say no. Oh well, you were already a no anyways. But what if they say yes? You're gonna be so happy you're gonna getting close to that transaction. Remember your value proposition. And what is your value proposition? What does it look like? Like, what do you bring to the table when these people work with you? People think that we are all, because we're all realtors, we all do the same. And yet I sit on the table, I'm like, well, the last realtor didn't sell it, didn't it? So you just have to be super transparent with them. Remember, you're going to work hard for them and do a great job, and they will benefit from having you as their agent. And that's that piece where I'm gonna give you such an amazing service in such that success isn't the job as much as it's as much about mindset as possible. Believe in yourself first, and others will do the same. And I'm gonna give you a little bit of a kind of experience and things that happened to me at the beginning. Remember the 6 personal perspectives and remove those limited beliefs. When I first started doing listing appointments, I was so nervous. People could tell I was new. And even though I never said it, they will sense it. And I was always getting this question, oh, how long have you been in the business? Why are they asking me that? And it was so frustrating to me that I was getting the same question. Obviously, these people weren't listening with me. And that's because that is the presence and that is the energy I was bringing into this meeting appointments. So the moment I changed that mindset, I'm like, you know what? And I used to hate people with the phone. I'm like, these people are gonna hate me. No, the moment I change my mindset, they have a pain that I can solve. They haven't sold the house, I can help them with that. And that is the mindset you're gonna pick up the phone, even if they push you away, if they're mean to you. Some of them, let me tell you, this one client I converted in Nicholasville last year. I picked up the phone, I'm like, hey, I saw your house, this is Oxana, I'm a local realtor. Before you hung up on me, you wanna do a pattern interrupt. I was hoping to ask you a quick question. Like, sure, what's up? I'm like, hey, well, your house came off market. Wasn't sure if you had sold it privately, still available, or you decided to keep it. I'm like, no, still available. I'm like, well, I mean, it's a beautiful home. I'm just curious. What, did you not get any offers? Offers were too low, or is it something else? He's like, my realtor sucked. That's why I didn't sell. And from there, the conversation, it was very easy. Yes, so a lot of people have the pain and need to find the one person that's gonna cure that pain, and that's you. You're the medicine that they're looking for. The same thing goes with the appointments, right? When you sit with these people, when you ask for the appointment. When you get off the phone, you should have a clear date, time, and ideal plan to meet at the home they wish to sell and full contact information. Little home you wanna do, anybody that's in your database, you wanna have an email, phone number, and a property address. Cause you need to have all those contacts to know when you wanna send them something, where to send it to. If you're doing weekly mailers, are you weekly emails, are you guys doing weekly emails? No. Oh, okay, you need to start now.
We learned about the 36 touch plan last week.
370, okay. Start implementing them. That's one of the little, everything that you've learned, try to take action right away so you don't forget about it. And you keep the momentum going, but you wanna start implementing those weekly emails, even if you have 3 people, even if you have 5, it doesn't matter. Put them in there because you're gonna get on the habit. How do I do my weekly emails? I go to ChatGPT. I stay on ChatGPT and I'm like, can you draft me a 52 weeks email plan for, and I've been training ChatGPT for a while, whatever you use, whatever AI you use, Gemini, whatever. For my market, do it 60%, 70% sellers driven, 30% buyers driven, because I'm only concentrating on listings. Just give me the subject lines and then give me the plan. So at the end of the end of the week for the next week, I say I get a subject line, put it in ChatGPT, drop me an email for that subject line, bring me a good hook to introduction and a good call to action at the end, and just make it, just give it to me. And once they give it to me, then I tweak it to make sure it sounds like me. ChatGPT is trained to sound like me. They used to use such big words at the beginning. I'm like, this is not me. People are gonna know I didn't write this. That's how I get my weekly emails ready for the entire year. Sometimes I change, like if I have a house that I sold pretty fast that expired before, I tell the story, and I actually got a listing from an email I sent about the house that I sold pretty fast, and from a prospect that expired. And he got the email and he called me and we listed it. And let me tell you, he was negotiating my commission. So at the end of the day, I helped him a little bit. But I asked him because he had interviewed a bunch of agents. I was, I think, the last one. I'm like, why are you hiring me? He's like, well, because I can tell you were honest. I can tell that you care, and I can tell that you're gonna sell. Because I've been watching your emails, I can see how you service. So people do pay attention. Even when you hear crickets, people do pay attention. Occasionally, you get someone to respond back. Now, if you do them well, you should get more responses back and more clicks on your. But I'm still learning, guys. Well, occasionally people reply back and they tell you, hey, I love for the reading all your emails, blah, blah, blah. And I actually have a lady, she's signing at the end of the month from a for sale by owner I talked to in 2024. She decided to rent the property. She went, older lady, she's so sweet. She went to Maryland, and now that she's back to sell it, she just messaged me. Because she keeps on getting my emails week after week after week. Something I do too, at the end of the year for the holidays, everybody gets a holiday card. All my clients get a holiday card, and prospects that I know are gonna converse soon, or prospects that I know I have really good conversations with, or prospects that are more on the luxury end that I want to make sure they see it, I send it to them. And people love them. And then they text me, I got your card, or they send me pictures. It's just the little things, guys. It's a lot of work, but it'll pay off in the long run. Any questions so far? See what we have after. I think it's just questions and answers. If you don't have any, we are going to. Any questions? Any objections you have gotten that you don't know how to handle? That's a good one. I want to get your thoughts on that. No, when you talk to people. Nothing.
I'm not there yet.
You haven't.
I haven't even taken the exams.
Not yet.
Jumped into a bunch of things.
Oh, there you go. So you're not licensed yet?
No,
Oh my God. So what are you doing? I didn't know that.
yeah, I'm studying right now. I just started studying.
Okay.
I came to open night here in January. Loved what I heard.
Oh, I love to hear that.
Started.
Yeah, you're definitely at the best place you could
Started
be.
signed up for
Yes,
classes
tell
and
KW, I'm
stuff.
gonna tell you a little bit about KW and me. I've been in the industry only 3 years. This is my 3rd year. I had a really big year last year. As you can see, I do a lot of prospecting. It does pay off. Spend 2 to 3 hours every day for the entire year to get clients. Now, sometimes it feels like you're doing a lot and not getting anything in return because there is no instant gratification in this business. Anything you do today will pay off at some point down the line. But I didn't join King Bellevue initially. I actually was in different brokerages, and this year, I know I needed a solid foundation for my business. Because I made last year $250,000 GCI, and my goal is to do 500K this year, which is $500,000. That's a lot of money, and that's a lot of work. I closed maybe 22 transactions last year, so now I have to double that to do 40. So I was looking for a broker that has solid systems, and this was it. You have all the tools here, you just gotta be willing to first ask for help, raise your hand, see where your leak kind of, links
Yeah.
are, like your weak kind of links are, and then start working on it. And you gotta lead them.
I
So-
wanna ask questions.
It's okay, you will have them for sure. Yeah, Legion, like I tell agents get frustrated. I had a newer agent asking me the other day, oh, but nobody's working, she switched brokers like 4 times, and I'm like, listen, no broker is gonna make you. No. This is a business, nobody's gonna tell you how to run your business, nobody's gonna grab you by the hand and like bait you. You have to really go out there and look for business, and you have to implement the tools and systems, and you probably heard me, we have we're not free, I mean, it's part of your services of doing with KW, but we do have a great CRM that you can start using. They give you a website, so you just gotta use all those tools. There's so much resources in command that I have no idea I'm still learning. But all the tools are here, you just gotta be willing to
Well,
use.
that's, Ignite has given me. So even though some of it's overwhelming right now. But it's got me thinking. What I've got to do once I pass.
I wish someone had, I didn't know, it didn't know.
I
How
mean,
much
it's
lead
got
then
me-
I had to do until I got my license, and I'm like, now what?
It's got me thinking about my base and how to build on that, so I would recommend it to anybody, I mean, it's a lot and I'm overwhelmed at the moment. But I
It's
just have
gonna
one more
it's
week
gonna
of this.
all falling into place, and I tell people, once it feels a lot, you just gotta pick one thing.
Yeah,
Master that and then move on to the next. We all don't get clients right away. It took me months to close my first deal, and then from there on, I had another business I closed, so it even then took me more months to then start doing more lead gen activity. And maybe cold calling is not for everybody. Not everybody can pick up the phone, but she's doing for me. Or you have a huge network, like your sphere is huge, and you start with your family, friends, and maybe the people that you worked with in the past. And that's where you start, but we have to be doing a lead gen of some sort. Maybe it's open houses for you. Maybe it's just you going to, I'm gonna start getting my name tag, I thought name tags were so cringe, I'm gonna start wearing mine, because I want people to know I'm an agent, just to initiate that conversation, especially, I tend to get a lot of like compliments on my outfits. I'm like, I'm just missing opportunity, this people's already talking to me, and I can be like, oh, you like my outfit, here's my real estate card, but had I had a name tag, maybe someone will pay attention, they're like, oh, and you're a realtor, I'm like, yes, here's my card, I can then maybe have those conversations. But I think everything that you do a little bit helps, and yes, joining Keller Williams is gonna feel like Tara told me, like jumping from a firewall. But let me tell you how you go to other brokers and it's like nothing happening, like you're on your own pretty much. So you'd rather have the resources and maybe feel overwhelmed because you don't know how many to use, it, you have nothing and figure this out on your own. I don't know if you asked me how help.
now I feel like I made absolutely the right choice, for
Good.
sure.
Good.
No doubt in my mind about that.
And the test is not that hard, actually, it's fairly easy, just gotta study, but it's not
Well,
that hard.
I started studying wrong, and John set me straight on studying wrong. I was studying too much and it was burning me out very quickly.
Oh, really?
He said, stop,
Oh.
slow down.
Alright, so we are gonna talk a little bit about the pre-listing packet, and like I said, we don't have one in commands, I wish I could show mine, but pretty much mine has.
It's not on.
No, Tara told me there's not one, but if you, mine is very simple, it has my resume, like a sheet of that says. I wish I could show it, but it's in my computer, you see. I mean, it's only YouTube, I don't know if anybody's, I think someone was watching. If, I think it's Julie only. Let's sign off to it.
When you say resume, you're talking about your realtor resume, right?
Correct, you still wanna have a resume, every professionally has, you'd be surprised how many realtors don't have one. And you don't have to talk about your stats or anything like that, at first I couldn't, I didn't have anything closed,
Right.
now I could. But
So our group coaching on Wednesday is pre-listing package. Our, you hear that?
Wednesday
On
is,
Wednesday at 11,
there's you one bus day.
who's showing that?
it's our,
Scott Leroy?
no, it's our training, Beth.
Beth? So Beth may have a template that she can share with you guys.
Yeah, it's your all's coach. I'm not doing the coaching yet, but I should, I wouldn't mind going to that.
So mine just has. Might be session notes. So it just says it's multi-token appreciation, actually it's not a resume, here's what's inside the packet. I do have the home highlights and what do they love about the house. That's one of the things, before you even list a property, you wanna have a thorough conversation with your clients, once you've signed that. Hey, what is it, because they lived in your house, they the ones that know your house better than anybody. Like, what do you enjoy about this house? What do you like about living here? What are the features about the neighborhood? Because that's what you're gonna use to create your marketing in listing description. Or like do your marketing content, like my clients in her sales, we just closed her house. Last month actually, and when I met with them, the sunsets were very fun to them, like they loved the sunset, they had a front porch and a back porch, so I made sure my photographer for video. Came close to sunsets, because I wanted to capture that in my list of you. And those are the things that really go like a long way through the client's view. So the home highlights, what they love, what they, because of this features, how much they describe your home, so this is, you need this, you don't go over this, but once you get there, you ask them, you look at this packet, if you fill out anything. Their home improvements, how much they spend on it. Prepare for photos, it tells them what they need to do to prepare for photos, and this is very important because. You are going to take that into consideration for all your, so let's say I have a house that's going to the market, right? And I know that house has done a bunch of upgrades. You better believe that there's gonna be a sheet at that kitchen counter that says all the upgrades my client have done. I usually, so if you go on, can I press down? Yeah, if you go on list reports, I'll tell you. And I think we have a system now that, I don't know if Command has anything, preparing photos, and I also have a video, this is all preparing for photos, there's a bunch of. But that already tells them how they should start, how you're gonna start working with them. Scan me, this is a video I create, so if you scan that video, it has me thanking them for the opportunity of meet with me and the whole. Everything's a lot, I'm actually in the process of making more videos for my prospects too. But if you scan that, it should take you to a video that I put together for this people, and then my resume is actually attached to update this. It's my old resume. My resume, a bunch of, I have to fix all that stuff. Not fix it, but it's not my stuff. But yes, they get everything, they get the scan thing, then they'll get the resume done here, and the resume does have my Google reviews in here, and also a barcode to my Google page, so they can see all the Google reviews, because I don't have, you can't just put all the Google reviews in here, I have now like 18 of them, and that's something you wanna do. After every transaction, make sure you got a review, whether on Zillow, whether on Google, you have to have a way of capturing reviews, because that is your testimonial for your next client.
That at the beginning, because I wanna wait until like. You know what I mean, something new, what if I do something wrong in my review?
They're not gonna know you did something wrong. Why would they know? You're never gonna tell them you did something wrong. You just create a page. I did it with my first client. Do you want me to show you my first review? And this is my very first client. If you give him an amazing service, you're gonna really work at the beginning with your broker. I had a lot of questions from my broker initially. But maybe your first transaction, it's easy. Transactions are actually not that hard. Not everything is complicated. As long as you know the process, yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking at the beginning. But and as long as you know that next step that you're doing is firm, like you can't just give them an advice that you're not 100% sure. And even then, if they ask you a question, you're not 100% sure, this is what you're gonna say. You're like, hey, that's a really good question, and I think I know the answer, but let me confirm. I'll be right back with you. Give me 30 minutes and I'll call you back, and I want to make sure what I'm gonna tell you is exactly what it is. Because you're human, you don't have to know it all. You're being honest, you're not lying, but should you give them a different advice and that's gonna cost them thousands of dollars, you have to be really careful. Let me show you. So you want to have a Google page because this is how Google is going to find you down the line. And let me tell you, the more AI we have, the more those AI softwares are going to compile what your services look online to suggest people within their world. Like if you go to ChatGPT now and you ask it, suggest me the best realtor in Central Kentucky, there's gonna be 2 or 3. I'm not one of them, I'm gonna work on it. But you have to start really going into your digital marketing and your digital presence because more and more people are gonna rely on that. So this is my first client's review. There's only one client I haven't asked for a review from all the transactions that happened. That was a divorced couple. At the end of the day, they both hated me. Yeah, working with divorced people is a little challenging. But you know what I learned with that one? I don't know if I'll do divorce anymore, but divorce, they work. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just.
Yeah, it was challenging. He's the first client. This was my first review, and I was. So and he gave me like a really nice. Can you see it? I don't know if you can read it.
Thanks.
Yeah, this was a year ago. So go with Oksana, you won't regret it. After Oksana sold my father's house, which another realtor had failed to sell, and they're just gonna be super honest about it. And guess what? Where that email goes? That email goes to my social media. That email is highlighted on my Instagram account. That email gets sent out in the newsletter. The whole thing, like the review gets sent out in the newsletter. I was disappointed that I didn't have another one for her to help me with. Oksana helped me find reliable contractors to remodel the second floor and address other issues. And yes, I do that. And I'm gonna start charging more for it, by the way. So I've realized it's a lot of work. At the beginning, I was new. I needed to kind of earn, but now that I know I can do it and what I'm capable and I have a really good contractors, and especially if you're out of state, my out of state clients, it's time consuming because I do all this work in the front end. And then eventually the house is going to market and sell, but I'm gonna start charging more. If I need to manage the work, I'm gonna start charging you like an extra 1%. Anyways, it was a beautiful review. A few times in your life you work with someone, you know it's going to be incredible, successful because they care about the work they do, the people they work with, and they are self-driven to deliver results and do it fairly for everyone involved. That's Oksana. I can recommend her highly though. To this day, he doesn't know he was my first client. I never told him that. You don't have to unless they ask. Right? People don't need to know how long you've been in business unless they ask you. Now, what are you gonna do if they ask you? You can't lie. This is how you're gonna respond. I had a client ask me in Nicholasville, my first transaction in Nicholasville, how many houses have you sold in Nicholasville? This is a client that hated the real estate agent, by the way. And I'm like, listen, that's a really good question. I'm so glad you asked. If I told you that you will be my first client in Nicholasville, is that a deal breaker for you, regardless of what kind of outcome or what kind of service I could give you? And you can be super honest. He's like, no, I'm just curious. I'm like, okay, move on to the next question. That's what you have to do. You can't just pause. They may ask, and you just tell them, is that going to be a deal breaker? Then maybe I'm not your agent. And the more you push people away, the more they're attracted to you.
Yes.
If you just say that, and then they're like, oh no, I was just curious, but I'm really curious about what you have to do and what you know. And then once you show them the presentation and everything you're gonna do, they even forgot that you will be their first client and it goes down. And for this one client, I actually ended up offering professional stage that I've never offered before. And I was praying to the gods up there that it was gonna work for me because they invested they were gonna invest $1,700 because I don't pay for that, they pay for that. But I told them, listen, you were in the market for 6 months, you're competing with new construction, you're a resale. The only way that you're gonna sell this if you create an experience that's different than what had before. It was clean. There's nothing I can recommend for you to upgrade because I either tell your clients when you expire, I'm gonna either have to reduce your price or increase your value. It's price against value always. You don't want to reduce your price because you want to sell for top dollar. Your house needs this work. This is what I think you should do. So we have a better chance of getting this top dollar. You don't have the budget for it. I had a client. He did so the professional staging, he invested the $17. Like there's nothing you can upgrade because this house is new. You need to put furniture in here because we need to give people that experience that when they walk in, they feel at home. So I'm gonna suggest you some staging companies. Are you willing to invest on it? They're like, yeah, we'll do whatever it needs we need to do. And then they invested and we did get her on a contract within 25 days. Yeah. Something I've learned as a listing agent, December and January are gonna be slow. Early January, December very slow. I don't do price. I wouldn't do any price improvements during those months because it's just the nature of the seasonality. Now, if you see that you haven't, you listed before December and it's slow, then you do have to see the market, but December and early January will be slow regardless of what you do. You can keep on doing price improvements and not getting any results, and then January just hits. So I usually am very careful with, I've already gone 2 years of that seasonality. I'm gonna next year be a little bit more careful about any price improvements I do at that time of the year. I've learned that, so the hard way. Yeah.
Well, and like we were looking at houses yesterday and there was a couple of we couldn't even. The street was too slow, can you couldn't get them?
Yeah, it's just really hard. And I felt the other day twice. I was doing property tours. I'm very heavily working on social media. And I was doing property tours and the stairs were really slippery. I fell twice. I fell twice going because I parked wrong and I was blocking someone. So I had to move my car and I was like rushing to get to my car because people were like, you park where you were supposed to. I'm like, I'm sorry. I fell and then I parked next to a pile that I thought it was soft, you know?
No.
It's full of ice.
I was gonna say, my front yard is a solid ice skating rink. Car.
Mine too. We did get a company that came and clear the driveway, but
I would think the liability would be really high.
alright, so as we move through today, we gotta keep in mind that E2P, I think you guys talked about this in previous trainings. From entrepreneurial to personal perspective. And I think it's did you guys have talked about that in the past from E2P? I think you guys. No?
Would you say from E to?
E2P, like how do you move from entrepreneurship to purposeful, working with proven systems and model to achieve more. Much of what we have talked about in AIM-9 in the past is about learning these models and systems to create a business that is large and profitable as you desire. If you truly engage these models and systems, pretty much everything you've talked about in the past in other classes, work them so they work for you. You will likely find that you don't hit that ceiling anytime soon because you're using the models that work at a high level. And I think we talked a little bit about that, the CRM, all the tagging that you have to do, staying top of mind, your mailers, all those are systems that you have to implement to your business. So your business provides the proof that you need. Everything from the pre-listing packet, and I kind of show you what mine looked like, to the consultation checklist and the listing presentation has been created for you based on the success of innumerable agents and all are available in the command design. So let me show you where the listing presentation is implemented. Let's go over the pre-listing packet first, and hopefully, when is your next class for the pre-listing packet?
What is?
When is, you have what you said for the pre-listing packet?
Oh, that's on Wednesday.
Yeah, so make sure you talk to Beth about that, and she'll probably provide a template or tell you how you need to create it. And your best friend for anything like that is Canva. Make sure you use that Canva for your marketing content. Pre-sale, because sellers build the seller's confidence. This is the goal of with the pre-listing packet. Answer the questions and objections before your presentation. Something I do with the pre-listing packet as well, I drop it off and I bring cookies or I bring a little something with that pre-listing packet. And I'll drop it up at the front door. If I think they're working, I would not, sometimes I don't even knock on the door. I leave it by the doorstep and I text them like, hey, I know we're set to meet tomorrow. I did leave you some at your front door to prepare for our meeting tomorrow. Let me know if you have any questions. And they're like, they're super surprised. If it's about dinner time, you can get a pizza. But I just like to do cookies. Crumble cookies are inexpensive if you have the budget. If not, just get $3 Walmart cookies. Let me tell you, now that my budget has gone up a little bit, I can do the crumble cookies. I do the minis and they look super cute with a bow, or you bring that huge box of cookies and they're like, oh my God, delicious. I have a prospect that I'm nurturing. It's a $1.2 million listing. And he knows me as a cookie realtor because the first time I met him, I brought him crumble cookies and now he loves the pink box and there you go. For Christmas, so I met him mid last year. For Christmas, I did my holiday card with him, and some people like go the extra mile depending on the list price too. Yeah, I brought a little box of crumble cookies and I gave them to the wife, so now I know the wife too. The pre-listing package saves you time and set the tone. A strong pre-listing package will make the consultation experience smoother and likely shorter by tackling common obstacles. It states your value, right? If you do that ahead of time, they're like, oh my God, this lady does a lot. Can you imagine what they think what she'll do when the time of me like doing, the actual listing and putting the house in the market looks like? The pre-listing packet tells the seller what you bring to them and their transaction. Remembering sellers have a specific goals they intend to achieve, and it is crucial step in discovering their goals and telling them how you will help them to a sheet then. That's why it's very important. So one of the things I do, you drop off the listing packet, you drop that with cookie, chocolate, whatever it is. On the listing appointment, once I get there, I think you talked a little bit about here, but I don't remember exactly, I know about it. I go in and I usually try to, I'm gonna bring my computer, I'm gonna be ready for the listing appointment. I leave it in the kitchen counter, usually I ask if I can put it at the kitchen counter, because that's usually a good setting for you guys to sit down or in the dining room table area. And I ask for a glass of water. Don't tell me like why, but I would suggest that it says it starts position as the authority. You ask for a glass of water and they're serving you this glass of water, so I usually do that sometimes too. Not when I'm walking the house, but before we start the lesson presentation, I'm like, hey, so okay, if I just get some water. And they can give you a bottle or a glass of water, but it starts positioning you as the authority. Now, one of the things you want to do. Let's finish the pre-listing packet before I go into the listing appointment. Will you review it in the listing, the pre-listing packet? Would you review it in the listing presentation? Does it eliminate the need for a listing presentation? And is a primary verification you would provide at the listing consultation? So yes, you may glance over to the listing packet at the listing appointment, especially if they filled it out. You want to acknowledge that they took time to do it, and then you can take that with you because it will have information about, especially the pages that have the upgrades and then what they love about the house, because that's what you'll use for your marketing campaign and what you're going to put in the listing description. No, it does not eliminate the need for the consultation. It just really sets a tone for you to have a great successful listing appointment. And it is a primary verification you will provide for the listing consultation, pretty much. It's pretty much that kind of foundation that you build before you even walk into the doors, okay? Any questions, guys, on that pre-listing package? People would love that. If you do that, your listing appointments will go very smooth. Okay, so this is one that was supposed to be in command, but I could not find it, so maybe Beth will find one for you guys. So when do you deliver the pre-listing packet? Ideally the day before, 2 days before, the very early. I wouldn't do it super early. You want to confirm the appointment date, time and location the day before at least. Ensure all the decision makers attend, by the way, that's very important. The last thing you want to do is sit at a seller's table and then you've done all this work, you've done all this prep work, you deliver the pre-listing packet, you spend the time like getting ready for this listing appointment. And once you get to the end and you're like, okay, I'm confident I can get this house sold for this and this, and based upon what you've seen today, do you feel confident I can get the job done? And then they're like, yes, I do, but I have to talk to the wife. You want to make sure as much as you can that all the decision makers are there. Complete and practice your listing presentation. You want to know your listing presentation, guys, especially at the beginning. I know mine now with eyes closed, but at the beginning I had to practice, I had to rehearse it. Something that like helped me early on in my in the early stages for me as a realtor, it was role playing. I would role play my scripts every day. I would role play the listing presentation, so I had a role playing partner. Are you guys established with a role playing partner in Midnight? So see if you can find an agent within our market center that will want to be a role play partner, because you will get those practice in, and it's nothing like talking to another human that may give you some objections, right? And you will put the reps in. It's like you don't want to go to a competition without doing the practices, right? Same thing for your role playing activities if you can. If there's no humans available, at least do it with ChatGPT. You give ChatGPT your listing presentation and you're just like, hey, I want to role play this with you. I'm telling you, AI can do so many things for us. I am pro AI. I love AI. I don't think it's going to replace the humans, but AI will help you save a lot of time in the future. Review the lead sheets and write to the listing presentation in a professional manner. Obviously, you want to go ready to do your listing presentation. Any aha moments so far, guys? Renee, any aha moments? I know we're still early on.
I'm absorbing.
Okay, the next thing we have is the listing appointment. Create a great impression to build a seller's confidence in you as a real estate agent of choice. Share your price recommendation, and this is a very important part of the listing appointment. the initial list price for their property and your reasoning behind this. So typically when you go, how was that conversation with you with your first listing appointment? Good. It was good? So I'm sure you pulled out comps and stuff like that okay.
I was gonna say, do you get it from comps?
You go from you go to the MLS and you try to go, so if it's like a good neighborhood where there's a lot of activity, you go back 3 months. If you need to go back more because you can go back 6 months, up to a year. I like not to go far more than a year. If it's a house that is hard to find incomes, then you may suggest them to have it appraised. You can have that too, but usually we have enough data in the MLS, especially in like the regular neighborhoods. If you go rural, it's a little bit harder, but if you go within the neighborhoods, you should be able to find enough comps that helps you keep a good pricing range. And based on that range, then you gauge and you see, okay, this house sold for $350 and had the same bedrooms, same bathrooms, same yard, same everything, but it was more modern. Like the bathrooms were remodeled, and then you tell the sellers to compare. I'm like, listen, if you were a buyer and you had, and I do that as comparison. If you were a buyer and you have 2 houses, this house is fully remodeled, ready to move in, and this one needs a lot of work, and they both list the same price, which would you buy? You're gonna see both, and then you're gonna compare, and you're gonna buy the one that's more ready to move in. And then yours is gonna stay on the market, and you're gonna be frustrated because my neighbor sold and you didn't. So you wanna be realistic on your pricing, because if not, you are gonna help the competition sell and you're not. And I have those conversations and it makes sense. Because I tell them, once buyers come in, they're gonna compare, just like you compare when you go buy a car, just like you compare when you go buy anything. They're gonna look at the two, compare the value, and then make a decision based on how much value against the price they're asking. But typically the pricing, recommendation and the compensation, like the commissions, is what they will give you some objections on. And then for me, when they ask about, would you take the listing for less? I'm like, that is a good question, and I guess they probably didn't answer. Are you testing me? They look at me like, I don't get that a lot. But I maybe get it once, and I was taught to do it that way, and they're like, oh, I'm not testing you.
Well, and it maps things to tell you to talk about, okay, if this is my money, if I'm going to give my money away this quickly, how am I gonna handle your money?
That's right, exactly. So it's kind of the same message in a different way. I'm like, listen, if I discount my commission right this second, how much do you think I'm gonna negotiate your behalf? I'm just curious. And they're like, yeah, you're right. So typically, if you just respond by rejection like that, or you give it kind of that analogy, it really all makes sense. And the beauty of this business is that you don't have to discount. You can decide if you want to take that listing at a lower rate or walk away, and then, kind of like decide if you want to stay firm to your commission percentage. But yeah, typically the pricing and the commission are kind of the two that you get those objections on. But if you present it well and you're super honest with them and you bring all the facts and you have all the comps ready and you feel confident in what you're delivering, one of the things I will tell you is that you can have the most beautiful listing presentation, but if your delivery does not match it, it doesn't matter what you show on paper. If they don't trust you and they're not confident that you can get the job done, they're just not gonna hire. So you have to be very confident on what you're saying and be prepared to respond to objections in a very confident way. You start getting shady or like getting nervous and like start, and they sense all of that and they don't feel confident that you can do it, no matter what listing presentation you have, just not good. They're never sure. And sometimes you could do beautiful in the presentation, and then they said, no, I lost the listing appointment, I lost the listing because the agent that they hire was offering, and I know who they are, actually, they did a really good, and sometimes if I lose it, but I know it's a really good agent, I'm not even upset. I'm like, because I know that we'll take care of you, it really bothers me. When you end up not getting the lead, or even they don't give you the appointment, and then you see them list the property, and then with someone else that did the same terrible photo, very minimum marketing, and I'm like, oh, this is what you're not. That really bothers me. But when they end up hiring someone that I know and respect and value and know will give them a good job, I'm like, listen, I can't even be upset. Because you're not gonna be the listing agent for everything. You're not gonna be the realtor for every client, every listing, or every buyer. Okay, so how the listing presentation meets seller needs and wants. Okay, So, and we talked about this earlier today, at the end of the day, the real estate business is relationship business. This part of your listing presentation is about the relationship. It's important, it's very important. Doing this piece right will go a very long way into earning your current and future business. When you present your listing presentation, you're ready to take notes and listen. Okay. You want to make sure you're present in that room and trying to hear them out. At the end of the day, you can't, because I used to do this, and the client was like, the prospect was talking to me, and in my mind, I was thinking what I needed to say next. What was the next page of the presentation? And that's when they sense all of that. Just be fully present on listening to what they're telling you, take notes, because you are going to start showing that you care, and then you're listening to their needs, because you're going to be delivering the best service that they can get based on those needs. So you have to be very present in that conversation and listen and be able to provide value based on their needs. If they're moving, and those are the questions you want to ask. Let's say you're selling a property and they need to buy a property. You have to have those conversations. How are you going to do this transition? You're buying, depending on the client, that could go either way, because sometimes they will prefer to be ready, find the property, replacement property, and then list this property and then do it that way. Others are like, no, I don't want that stress. I'd rather sell this property. I have temporary housing. I put everything in storage, and then I can take my time to find a replacement property. Or no, I want to do it original because I have enough equity. I want to be able to do this transition smooth. I want to be able to buy my property before I even sell this. So you have to have those conversations to see how you can serve them better after the fact, because you're not going to list a house and keep this clients without a house, right? You don't want to do that. So those are the conversations you want to have. What happens when you sell this house? Where are you going? What are you gonna do? Any questions so far, guys? No, all right. Now we're getting close to 11. And again, it's all about the mindset. I am knowledgeable and caring and the best agent for this client. Remember, they have a pain that you can solve. So it's all about the mindset that you walk into the room. Your presence also says a lot. You know, you have to put effort to looking professional, put together. They will appreciate my expertise and preparation and choose me to represent them as they sell their house. And remember, I'm very transparent when I meet a seller. I tell them, listen, you can end a contract with any agent that you work with. I choose to be very transparent about that. All the agents may not. But let's say you start working with me and I said I'm gonna do all this thing, and that's part of my value proposition. And I don't know, then we sign and then I become a completely different human. I don't send you the prep list I said I was gonna send you. I don't send you the items that you need to buy. I don't do the open houses. You never hear from me. You don't have to continue. You can cancel your contract with me at any time. You just gotta give me 24 to 48 hours, 24 I think, to cancel that contract. Now, has that ever happened to me? No. But I'm very transparent about that option. Whether you work with me or any other agent in our market, our contracts can be canceled should you not be happy with my services. So don't feel obligated that if hasn't happened to me. But I'm very transparent about that. So they feel more at ease of working with me. They're like, okay, because sometimes sellers know that. Some agents don't communicate that. And they think once they sign, they're stuck with that agent. They feel obligated to work with this agent all the way through the listing contract. And I actually had a client, now my client, that ended up hiring the agent to hire me. They can do that. Now, you cannot solicit business of a active listing, but it's so funny because I called her on a different listing that she decided to rent. And she asked me, she's like, listen, that house actually, it's rented now, I'm not selling it, but I'm trying to sell the house and it hasn't sold. Can you give me a second opinion? And I didn't know I could do this, but there is a form on that loop that says if the owner of the house is the one asking you for the feedback, you can, as long as you get them to sign. It says they're the ones that initiated that initial conversation. And before you even open and correct me if I'm wrong. You know what the form I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Yeah, there's one. And I didn't know this until I sat with a broker at the time. Because I actually stopped talking to sellers because I didn't know. And they're like, no. If they're the ones that initiate the business, you absolutely can give them a second opinion. There is a form. I gotta find it, but there's a form that says that the sellers were the one that initiated the conversation with you, and then you can give me a second opinion.
So you give a second opinion, but you can't solicit.
No, you can't call inactive listing. Or door knocking or anything like that.
But if
You
they're
can lose your license for that.
if they've contacted
If
you,
they contact you, let's say they find you online, they're writing reviews and they say, hey, I love, I found you online, my house is listed, it hasn't sold, I've had it listed for 6 months. Can I get a second opinion? Can you give me an opinion on this? You can, but you have to be very transparent about, hey, I can as long as you sign this paper, if not, I cannot give you a second opinion.
but you can't, but
You found it?
No, I was trying to back up in my mind to what you were talking about. So you're talking about if someone has listed someone else.
Yes. Yeah,
what I'm
I haven't seen
saying,
that in Bluegrass Roll for some.
it is the Bluegrass Realty Corners. I don't remember the name, I'm gonna go look for it.
but can you, okay, once they've signed that form, everything, can you solicit their business if they're still in contract with the other realtor?
You just give them a second opinion, it's up to them whether they want
Second
to.
opinion, you don't solicit.
Yeah, it's up to them if they wanna hire you and then cancel the contract with anybody else.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, double check that, I'm pretty sure it's 100% correct.
Okay, I just wanted to.
Mhm.
Okay.
Alright, guys, I think the rest, we pretty much done, we covered all of it. The next thing we have, to just talk about the baby success systems, make sure you're having those conversations, whether that's door knocking. Or cold calling or open houses or your, I don't know, Zillow leads and stuff like that, it's very important that you. Continue to have those baby success activities. And let me show you where you find the listing presentation button. So you go into command, you go into designs. I have one pulled up here, but if you create design. And then you click on print. And then you click on next. Here it is. Your listing presentation. There is a bunch of templates here you can use. And then pretty much, you don't have to use everything that's in the pages, but you can edit them based on what you want. Like some people that you found it? Yeah?
Yeah, and it's crazy because I'm looking at the bottom, it says October 2019, not number 6.
Yeah.
Seller initiated.
If the
listing.
seller initiated the
This is
listing
what it's
form.
called.
Mhm.
And it says I
The seller.
of real property located at,
Mhm.
hereby acknowledge and affirm that I. Or / we initiated contact with real estate agent blah on blah to discuss the listing of my property. So acknowledged and affirmed on the stay.
Oh, yeah.
But it doesn't say anything on here. like-
Well, yeah, I was taught that, yeah, if they initiate it, you can have a conversation with them. You just cancel listed on active listing, you can lose your license for that.
Okay.
But if they're listed and they're the ones that initiated the conversation with you, you can meet active. It was my understanding that you can meet with those sellers, but they have to sign that.
That's right.
Yes, yes.
It's funny because I've had it happen to me. Kind of vice versa.
Me,
My people that I've had a property listed for. Spoke with them because they would use it, me, oh, so and so at. So said, I'm like, you're talking to other people.
yeah,
So
no,
they
so,
sort of-
yeah, and I told them, listen, I'm just gonna give you a second opinion, then you have to make a decision.
so I
This
knew
is
that.
how I do my business. If you decide to do anything, you have to have the top conversations with the other agent if you wanna turn.
So I knew that agent. And I phoned and we discussed it at the time.
Mhm.
Actually, I think it was before 2019, but there was no, like, I've never.
No, yeah,
seen-
and so Carol Shu was the one that told me about it. Because before I wouldn't talk to the sellers, I'm like, I'm not doing that. Like,
Seller initiated.
yeah, they're like, no, you can't solicit their business, but if they contact you, you absolutely, because those people need help. Like if someone is not selling their property, and actually didn't sell it. It didn't sell. She's and I did so much for that lady. I even signed up for Zillow Showcase just for her listing, and we did photos, and I even cleaned like the yard in the front because
Then
she.
I was about to say, I could go into a story, that situation was my very first listing, 2.85 million. This is years ago,
Yeah,
and I developed it. I took it all the way to sticking 40-something signs in the yard, and at the last minute, they've been talking to someone else.
see, but that's
Their
not right
husband
either.
low, you know, runs infrastructure. And it was like, I'll do the infrastructure for X. Cause we're getting bids on infrastructure,
Mhm.
if you give.
Did they sell it
let's say My
eventually?
wife,
Did they sell it
so I
eventually?
worked it for 2 years. And built the development, and when it came time to stick my signs in the yard. They gave it to a real estate agent.
Oh, you get to list it then.
Well, I listed the whole property to sell as development. But when
Oh, I
it came to
gotcha.
Do it, in the meantime, I developed it. And it was 40 something tracks.
Oh,
and It's
no.
time to put my sign in the
I
yard.
think we all have.
Oh, so and so's husband is gonna do us a deal, but only if we give everything to his wife, the list.
Oh, that would hurt.
So yeah, after plus you.
No, but that was the form, yeah, that was a legit form.
So I learned a lesson, but yeah, there were a couple of farm tracks outlining the subdivision.
Sorry, you need your room, right?
And
Yeah,
this,
okay.
there was not this form, so.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
So-